Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about notes on the keyboard. So here we have a bunch of lines and notes with names of notes in them. This is called the grand staff. This little guy is called the treble clef, usually played with the right hand. This little guy is called the bass clef, and it's usually played with the left hand. Okay, so we have an image of the keyboard and a staff with quarter notes underneath. And we see lines connecting, showing you what notes they are. So we have F, G, A, B, C, and so forth. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and so on and so on. As we see, the alphabet in music goes from A to G. So I usually tell my students that they need to learn the alphabet backwards, at least from A to G, because you need to know it both ways when you read notes. So we have sets of 3 and sets of 2 of the black keys going up and down the piano. And I usually teach my students how to find C first, because C is an easy note to find. Okay, so here are all the C's. As you can tell, they are right next to all the sets of 2. They're on the bottom left of all the sets of 2. So I usually have all my students start, finding all the C's until they get comfortable with that. Find all the C's, then find all the D's, and then they get familiar with where the notes are on the piano. And as with everything, repetition, repetition. So here is our staff with all the notes. I usually compare it to a ladder when I'm teaching them, because like on a ladder, as you go up the ladder, the notes get higher, or you get higher. Same on the staff. As you go up the staff, you start here on the low notes. The bottom note is the bottom rung, and as you go up, you get higher, and the notes on top are the higher notes, the higher in pitch. And so here's our staff again. And instead of like the face and the every good boy does fine method, I, a long time ago, tried to go away from that method because I found it was not as good for me as just teaching them other things. So I usually teach what I call keynotes. And for example, we have like B right here is the middle line of the staff on the treble clef. So as long as they know where like B is, or there's E, it's the first note on the treble clef, the first line. So when you learn just a couple of notes like that really well, then it's easy to find the other notes, just moving up 1 or 2 notes from them. So like for instance, here we have D is the third line, and then G is the bottom line on the bass clef. And something that may or may not be helpful that I like to point out to my students, in the bass clef, the notes are always 2 letters in the alphabet higher than the treble clef notes. For example, here in the first space on the treble clef, we have F. And here on the bottom first space, we have A. So in the music alphabet, we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We start over again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So if F is the top note, or the first space, then 2 notes up, F, G, A, is going to be the first on the bass clef. So for what it's worth, that may or may not be helpful to you. But that's something that I think has helped some of my students. And that's it for today. If you want to keep up with my future videos, please subscribe. And join me next time for talking about time signatures. Have a good day. Bye.